The world of the ancients, according to a number of mythologies from cultures all across history, tell wonderful stories of demi-gods, mystical powers, and artifacts capable of performing the impossible. Though many find that such stories are nothing more than metaphorical in their claims, it has become evident in the modern day that there are a number of ancient artifacts that were genuinely believed to have possessed mystical powers. These were said to have helped our ancient ancestors with certain developments. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over 4 different ancient artifacts that hold mystical powers. The Black Orlov Diamond. Rumoured to have originally been a precious gem placed inside the eye of Brahma from an Indian sculpture located in a secluded Hindu temple, the Black Orlov diamond was stolen by a monk that had worked at said temple and went on to sell the diamond for a tremendous amount of money. It was this action that supposedly caused the diamond to become cursed and led to a series of misfortunes that worked as a virus to spread amongst others. The original diamond dealer, of whom had purchased the Black Orlov diamond from the monk, wrote extensively of his growing paranoia and depressive state. He said that it was being made worse by the piece of jewellery, stating that the diamond began encompassing his thoughts at nearly all times. He then took the diamond with him on his journey to the United States, where, overcome by the curse of the diamond, went atop a skyscraper and jumped off. The diamond was mysteriously missing until it resurfaced almost 10 years later in the possession of a beautiful Russian princess, Leonila, that, after gaining possession of the diamond from unknown sources, began complaining of terrible headaches. She also had dreams that were so bad it only worsened her mental state. It didn't take long before the Russian princess herself also took her life. Shortly after this, the diamond was then given possession to Nadia Orlov, another Russian princess of which the diamond would later be named after. Similar to all its previous owners, Nadia began complaining of mental illness and quickly deteriorated shortly after gaining possession of the diamond. Unsurprising to most, this would lead Nadia to follow down the same path as the people before her. She ended up taking her life. What's strange is that shortly after, another string of misfortunes surrounding her loved ones followed after she had passed away. It wasn't until a man by the name of Charles Winson gained ownership of the diamond that the curse was broken. He originally was a skeptic of this diamond and wished to own it due to its incredible level of infamy. His tune quickly changed, however, as after gaining possession of the piece of jewellery, he began feeling as if he was being driven to insanity, saying it was as if the diamond had taken over his every thought and fueled a depressive state. Understanding the curse and his soon-to-be fate, Mr. Winson quickly worked to defeat the curse of the diamond. He did this by having it broken into many separate pieces and scattered in different bands of jewellery. It wasn't until this was completed that Mr. Winson felt the curse lift and returned to normalcy. The Bassano Vars. One of the strangest objects to have ever existed is that of the Bassano Vars. Though incredibly beautiful in its design, this 15th century vase, crafted from carved silver, has been known to carry with it a dark and terrible power. Despite the number of Italian rumours that surround the creation of the vase, the only story that seems to hold any credence is that told by Italian folklore that dates back as far as the original founders of the vase. According to the folklore, a soon-to-be married bride, born in a small village located north of Napoli, had been gifted the vase by an unknown individual. That night, after accepting the vase, the woman was found writhing on the floor, clutching the vase closely, only to have suddenly died shortly after. In her death throes, she cursed the vase and claimed that it would only bring misfortune and tragedy to anyone of whom owned the vase for their own personal collection. It's due to this curse that many people believe that the Bassano vase holds a mystical power that has caused many of its future owners. Oddly enough, every owner that has been in possession of the vase has suffered immensely. In some cases, most have died shortly after adding the vase to their personal collection. After the death of the nameless woman, the myths claim that as the vase moved between family members, each person having once owned the vase would mysteriously die shortly after. Despite the value of the Bassano Vars, this would eventually cause the surviving members of the family to bury away the vase and hide it at a secret location never to be found. However, the Bassano Vars would be rediscovered back in 1988 and continue its streak of mysterious deaths up until the local law enforcement buried the vase at a hidden location, hoping that the vase would be forgotten for good. The Ulfbert Swords. Forged between 800 AD to 1000 AD, were some of the most perfect swords ever created by our ancestors when compared to other swords that were created all across the entire world. Designed with such high-quality materials that many believed the swords held a number of mystical properties. These swords are known as the Ulfbert Swords and were once even rumoured to be the same style of sword wielded by King Arthur when describing the creation of Excalibur. In the modern day, we are now aware that the Ulfbert swords are not just a legendary weapon resigned only to inhabit myth. They are indeed real weapons that were incredibly rare to own, and were seen as the most expensive piece of weaponry imaginable. This is due to their lack of any material imperfections of any kind. Researchers have uncovered that the Ulfbert swords, for reasons not entirely known, contain roughly 3 times more carbon in their material composition compared to other swords of their era, and contained no impurities, referred to as slag, that would have led to an uneven distribution of the carbon. This meant that the Ulfbert swords, due to their high trace amounts of carbon, were far stronger, far more flexible, and far lighter than any other sword made during their time, due to the fact that carbon, at the right amounts, enhances that quality of the sword from being too soft or too brittle. The mystery surrounding the creation of this sword has to do with the fact that the researchers did not believe slag could be removed from the metal during this time. This comes down to the fact that it would require the iron ore to have been heated to 3000 degrees Fahrenheit just to reach the optimal temperatures to have removed such impurities. For comparison, such temperatures and iron forging were not available in the modern day until the advent of the Industrial Revolution. This has led many to speculate that not only were advanced technologies and techniques required to make a sword of this caliber, but that an air of mysticism would have had to have been involved to achieve such a strong metal that is both lighter, more flexible, and stronger than any other weapon available during its time. Stonehenge and Ley Lines. An archaeological site of significant importance that has always been a major fascination amongst the locals of the area and researchers from around the world. Stonehenge has proven to be quite a mystery to anyone who even attempts to try to understand its construction and the techniques behind it. Not only are the large stone blocks that were used in the construction of the monument so massive that even modern means of construction would fail in regards to establishing Stonehenge, but the source of the blocks appears to have been carved from hundreds of miles away, which leads many researchers to question the ability of transporting such large stones to the area. To add to this bizarre strangeness to the formation of the Stonehenge, it has been discovered that the structure appears to have been built with astonishing precision in its placement and carved creation. The structure appears to be able to be used as a complex calendar and can keep track of time to an incredibly mysterious, accurate degree. This does insinuate, however, that not only did the ancients have the technology to cut the stones with laser precision, transport the massive blocks, lift them with tremendous force, and place them with perfect alignment, but that our ancestors also had the ability to make megalithic constructions in a very short span of time. This continues to baffle researchers to this day who work to uncover more secrets regarding Stonehenge, such as its weird electromagnetic properties and special materials used in its creation. Others have even argued that the formation of the Great Stonehenge could be direct proof of ancient technologies and extraterrestrial intervention. When researchers attempted to better understand the strange electromagnetic phenomenon experienced at Stonehenge, They began to put forward a theory when plotting on a map a number of other megalithic monuments that point to the idea of one long and massive road that seemed to have connected the monuments in a straight line. This would later lead to the theory that the spiritual placement of Stonehenge was that of a mystical property, and that this invisible road could have been a reference to a mystical line of energy. This is said to have run around the world known as a ley line. Though no one is quite sure what ley lines are responsible for, it's believed that there is a connection with that of Earth's electromagnetic field and a property of mystical energy surrounding the entire monument. But what do you all think of these unbelievable ancient artifacts that many all around the world believe hold supernatural and mystical powers that researchers have had a difficult time to explain? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.